welcome back to my channel. My name's Emily and I'm a knitter, crocheter and very occasional sewer. Today's episode is very exciting because it is the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along build-up video. I filmed one of these last year, really enjoyed it because I got to pull out all of my Mystery Knit Alongs that I've done and go through them with yourselves. Very excited for that, and also I will show you my colourways that I've chosen. You will have already seen them if you've seen my podcast over the last couple of weeks, but I will show you them again at the end of the video and just get all excited because it's happening tomorrow. Yeah, can't believe how quickly it comes around every year. It's mind-blowing. But yes, before we get stuck in, how are you all today? I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a fantastic day and a fantastic week so far. Let me know in the comments below, are you planning to take part this year? Have you taken part in previous years? And if so, which one was your favourite? I am very curious to know. My favourite is actually the first shawl that I did in Stephen West Mystery Knit Along lineup, and we're going to get stuck in. So that first shawl that I made was Shawlography. This was, I think it was 2021's shawl, Mystery Knit Along, and it was, as I say, the first one I ever did. Myself and Rob's lovely mum did it together and it was just fantastic. It was very eye-opening to me because I hadn't been so experimental with knitting before, and it just opened my eyes to a whole new world of wonders and delights. And it is a challenge, don't get me wrong, it is a challenge to do one of these shawls because you don't know what you're going to end up with. You don't know if you're going to like it, for one. And for two, there are some techniques that might not be as enjoyable to others as they are to some. And, you know, like brioche, for example, this was some lovely brioche, 2-colour brioche in this shawl. It was really fun to do. And yeah, just really intriguing ways of constructing a shawl as well. This one was my favourite shape. It's just the usual kind of semicircle, half moon type shawl, which I really like as far as a shape goes because I find it a lot more wearable. It's easier to put on, it's easier to wear in the way that I wear it, which I will quickly show you. Is just to do that. That is basically how I wear it. But there you go. Ta-da! And the thing I like about this shawl was that when I wear it like this, which, as I say, not very adventurous, it is how I wear my shawls. When I wear it like this, you can see pretty much a little snippet of, well, pretty much every area, every section, every different stitch, every texture. You can see it all just here. It's here for you. You can see it, and I think that's really nice. The other thing about this shawl was that I learned so much, and I think that's what gets me coming back every year, is that I always learn something new, and I really just enjoy the challenge and the way that Stephen puts out videos with all his shawls as well to help you along. If you need, you don't necessarily need to. I do try my best to make the shawls using the instructions without the video. So I know some people, they will watch the video first and then they'll do the shawl, and then some people will watch it alongside as they're doing the shawl. So I'm a dipper. So basically, use the instructions. If I reach a point where I think, oh, I'm not quite sure what he means here, I will then refer to the video for further instruction. I think that's fantastic because there's so many different ways to tackle these shawls, and each way is unique and to your own, and I think that's great. And plus, you get so many different colourways going on as well, plus the mohair dare. I didn't do the mohair dare until my third shawl, and you'll see that in a minute. But yes, we're on Shawlography at the minute. Another thing I love about this shawl was the yarn. So I used Eden Cottage yarn for this shawl. It was a pack of, how many different colourways was it? 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was 5 different colours for this shawl, and it was just fantastic. It was their Milburn 4-ply base, which has a little bit of silk in, so it's a little bit luxurious, and it just drapes fantastically. So spoiler alert, I mean, you already know this if you have seen my podcast, I have bought the same base for this year's shawl because I just adore this yarn. Look at that drape, it's gorgeous. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, Shawlography, this is definitely it was a process knit. I know there's two types of knitting, isn't there? There's a process knit and there's a product knit. This was definitely a process in the beginning, and it quickly morphed into a product knit because I fell in love with this shawl, and it is the one that I wear the most. In fact, you can see that it's showing a bit of signs of wear here and there. There you go, you can see the bobbling at the top there. I adore it, and now that it's out again, because it was in a Ziploc bag, not a Ziploc bag, you know, one of the ones, that a vacuum seal bag. So now that it's out, I'm going to leave it out because it's getting cold again. But yeah, definitely my favourite. I also jumped outside my comfort zone a little with the colourways, because I'm not a big fan of green, really. I never used to be, but now I am. I think it's wonderful. But this was definitely outside my colour palette, and you'll see my colour palette in a moment. But I thought I'd give it a go, and the result was fantastic. So I really love this. Shawlography, definitely my favourite for sure. So we start off strong. And then I got hooked, basically. I'm not going to show you the colourways for the yarns because it just, the colour, I can't guarantee that colourways are going to still be there, if that makes sense. So I don't know if they still do, Eden Cottage Yarn still does this pack or this colourway, for example, but it was definitely Eden Cottage Yarns, Milburn, 4-ply, and I'll show you the makeup of that yarn in a moment when we get to the end of the video, because that, as I say, is what I've got to show you. So Shawlography, winner, loved it. Then that brought us on to, in 2022, Twists and Turns. So let me, oh boy was it twists and turns. Here it is. It's quite a difficult one to show. Oh, got fibre on my nose again. It's quite a difficult one to show because the wingspan of it is very long. So if I do it like this, maybe, there we go. And then that, and then that. So as you can see, very wide shawl. This was a process knit for me, definitely 100% a process knit. I don't wear it very often because, let me show you, when I put it on the way that I like to wear a shawl, what I get is a lot of stripes, which is not a problem. I really like the look of this bit. I think it's fantastic because it's very unusual, but you don't get much of this bit. You don't get much of this bit showing the way that I wear it anyway. I'm sure if I wore it in a different way you would, but I just feel like it's stripe overload for me, and I just didn't love that in terms of wearing it. I do find it a difficult one to wear. Having said that, I loved the process. This section, this middle section with these lovely braids, that was definitely a commitment. And as it was the first clue, it was quite a, yeah, I didn't know where we were going with it, and it was a lot. It really was, but I think the effect is fantastic. It was a really interesting technique to do. I probably would never opt to do it again. Having said that though, I think it would look great as a sweater. I think that would look fantastic personally, so Stephen. Whether or not I'll make it, I don't know, but yeah, yoke, it'd be great. I think the effect looks fantastic, it really does, doesn't it? But yeah, it wasn't the funnest to make. But then we carried on with the rest and we expanded these wingspans, and again, it was just, I had no idea where we were going. It was definitely lived up to the name of it, Twists and Turns, because it was definitely that. So I think at one point we picked up stitches here and knitted this long pink bit without this bit was after that, and it was like, what is happening here? It was fantastic, really good fun. I really enjoyed it, but again, just one that I don't reach for very often, and it is purely because of the way I wear shawls. It just doesn't quite work for me, unfortunately, but I'm really glad I did it. The yarn I used was my hand-dyed yarn, so that's Apex yarn, and I just went for some really similar colours, similar family, and obviously had to go for the bright pink as my accent colour. I'm trying to remember what was requested for the colourways. It doesn't actually say. Because this is in my own colourways, I was having it as a sample for my shop, and that's why it's got a little label on it that tells me what they were. But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot I can really say about this, because although I really enjoyed the process, I just don't really reach for it, so I can't remember much about it. We had these little I-cords that we wove into the cables. That was an optional thing on the pattern, and obviously I decided I had to do it because I just thought it brought this bottom section alive a little bit. It does, doesn't it? It really does. I think there was a lot of tension issues actually thinking about it on this project. I thankfully was okay, but because we did this side, I can't remember which side, but one of the sides we did first, and knitting was the predominant stitch. However, when we came to do the other side, it was basically mirrored. So it was purling as the dominant stitch. So I think some people did have issues with tension. So I will just preface that in there. If your tension between knitting and purling stitching is slightly off, slightly different to each other, just a caution on that, because one side is predominantly knitted and the other side is predominantly purled. So there might be some differences in the size of the wings. Other than that, yeah, perseverance, definitely for this one. I think I managed to do this first bit on time. Were I to do it this year? Not a chance. Not a chance. I don't have anywhere near as much time as I used to, which is a shame. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. But as I say, I cannot remember much about it, unfortunately, so I don't have much to say. But Twists and Turns by Stephen West. Yeah, I'm glad I did it. But as I say, it's just one of those things. And I think this is why some people like to do it, or some people like to wait until they know what the final product looks like before they actually do it, because it is a big risk. It's a big, depending on where you got the yarn from, it can be a big expenditure. So if you don't know what you're actually making, how do you know you're going to like it at the end to commit that kind of money to a project? And I get that. I totally get that. I just enjoy a mystery, basically. So essentially what I'm paying for is a mystery. The enjoyment of a mystery. Right, so the next one, I do really like this one. I haven't worn this one much actually, but I probably should. But this was 2023's shawl, and that is Geogradient. And here it is. As you can see, I'm a pinky purple person. I quite like pink and purple, although blue is my favourite colour, and we'll get into that in a minute. But this is the colour palette that I chose for Geogradient, and I'm really happy with it. This was, I think, the first one that I filmed. Was this the first one? I can't remember actually. It might be the second one. Possibly the second one that I filmed in Vlogtober. But it was wonderful. I really, really like this shawl. I think it's really beautiful. And the thing I loved about this one actually was this part, having those floats on the front and making a decoration of them. I also loved this section here as well, this border. I think that is really effective, really pretty. And yeah, I went for moody colours, as you can see, for this one. These are using Bird Street yarns, so they put together a couple of packs, and as soon as I saw this pack, couldn't resist. So let's quickly put this on, show you what this looks like in my usual way of wearing it. Again, this one the same could be said as Twists and Turns, in that you can't really see this section, which is the section that I really, really like. But I suppose the same could be said about Shawlography as well. Honestly, I'm biased. I love Shawlography, but I do really like this shawl. I have blocked it, but however, it does tend to flick up a bit at the bottom, and I don't know whether that is the nature of the stitch. Not 100% sure, but either way, I think it's lovely, it's cosy, and I don't know why I don't wear it more, personally. But this is just a lovely shawl, once again. This was also the shawl that had the unfortunate misfortune of needing a pattern rewrite during the process. I'm sure you all know about it, so I won't delve too deep. But my middle section, it was the middle section that needed to be rewritten, which was clue 1. And I chose to follow, who was it? It was Pink Queen Yarns. She did a version of the centre that looked very much like Stephen's fragmentation shawl. I think that's what it's called, because I love the fragmentation shawl. I think it's beautiful. I'd love to make it, but I think at the minute a big shawl other than Mystery Knit Along is a big commitment. So time constraints as they are, not right now. But that's what I wanted for the centre of this. But I couldn't figure it out. So as soon as Pink Queen Yarns put out, let me put that over there, it's a bit easier, put out her version of the centre, which was essentially what I was hoping to do with mine, I thought that's fantastic. So I have used her instructions for that. If I remember, I will link it below if it's still available, but that is what I used. And I loved how geometric this shawl was, with all the lines interconnecting and just going out. Lovely. I loved it. What else was there to say? Oh yes, this was the first shawl that I actually did the mohair dare on as well. So I don't know if you can see, but here, and the pale pink, I did have some mohair that I used, and that's the first time I've used it. I mean, people are very creative with these shawls, which is another thing that I love about them. People can come up with some really fantastic ways of using their colours, like putting them in different places, very, very imaginative, different ways of using the mohair. I am not that, 1, adventurous, or 2, creative. I say that, and my entire education was artistic based, but I just don't feel I have enough in my head. Well, especially not at the minute. But we'll get onto that anyway. But this was the first time I did the mohair dare, and I really liked it actually. I was really pleased with where I used it, and I think it was in the instructions to use it there though, so not very adventurous once again. But yeah, again, this is my favourite section of the whole shawl. I just think it's wonderful and beautiful, and I think it looks really nice next to this section. So let me hold that up again. I think they just look really, really good together. I was really happy with my colours, and as I say, I just don't wear it enough, so I should, because this is, well, basically almost a semicircle. Yeah, pretty much a semicircle. I'd call that a semicircle, that'd be alright. So that is Geogradient. Let me fold it up, there we go. Right, that brings us on to last year's shawl. This one I once again decided to use my hand-dyed yarn for, and I went very jazzy indeed. And I really enjoyed making this because the construction of this shawl was so interesting, and I felt like I almost understood what was happening, and that felt quite exciting to me. But anyway, without further ado, this is, just got to double check, yes, this is Go Dynamo. Put that over my shoulder. Isn't it wonderful? I really, really like this shawl. It was brilliant, and it was only 2 colours that we needed to use. I could have used some mohair with this, but I just didn't really feel the need. Have I? It's all right. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, you can tell I don't wear this shawl, which is a shame. I dropped a stitch as I was casting off, so that marker's there to remind me to put that stitch back in, but I've clearly not done it in a year. That's terrible. But this shawl, the construction of it, I adored so much. And we started here. So we started with these semicircles, did the semicircles first, then we joined the semicircles, and I thought, oh, there's no I-cord on the top. Stephen likes to edge things with an I-cord, so I thought, well, I wonder if we're building up from the top as well. And we did, as you can see. Really nice. But yeah, it was just such a fantastic shawl. It really was. There was some brioche in there, which was really, really exciting. 2-colour brioche, you can see that. Really, really lovely. I also really enjoyed the border, this wibbly line border. I think that was beautiful, beautiful way to finish off the shawl. A lot of stitches, but a wonderful way to finish off the shawl. And then at this top bit, I really like the shapes that were going on here. I also really loved these little, tiny little bobbles with the float along the front. Once again, I thought it was brilliant. I loved everything about the shawl, making it. It was so much fun. And I think the thing that made it fun for me was that it was nice to just have the two colours that you're swapping between. So it wasn't too much going on in the brain. And I think it looks really effective and I really like it. So let me pop it on. Oh, there we go. Yes, now I really like having this bit here. I think it's really kind of busy around the neck and then it kind of comes out and flattens as you go down the shawl. I think it's brilliant. And oh, it is a really nice shawl. I don't wear it enough. Once again, I say that about everything, but I think the only Stephen West shawl that I really, really reach for is the original Shawlography for me. There's so much about this shawl that I love. I love this shawl. High praise there. But anyway, this one, as I say, I do really like it, and I thought I'd go out there with the colourways because the other ones, obviously you've got these colourways which are really lovely, a little bit out there for me. Then we had Twists and Turns, which had that lovely pop of colour, the lovely bright pink. So again, fairly bright. Then we had Geogradient, yes, Geogradient, and that sort of, I chose a colour palette that went a little bit darker. And then this one I thought, you know what, let's go wild. And I did. But yeah, again, I don't really have a lot to say about this one because I think I said it all in Vlogtober last year, but I really, really enjoyed the process, once again, of making this. And it is a really nice shawl. I do love the fact that Stephen West shawls are huge. They definitely keep you warm. Definitely got some structure to them, some fabric. And I do really like them. So that's why I keep going back. I keep going back for the challenge. I keep going back for the community. I keep going back because I love a mystery and I love watching Stephen's brain work as he constructs the shawls. I think they're amazing. And as you're going through the instructions, it's just fascinating to think, well, where are you taking us next? It's like a ride. It's so much fun. I do really enjoy them. But as I say, they are a big commitment in terms of time and in terms of funds, if you know, depends where you get the yarn from, as I say, but they could be a commitment in funds as well. But I do really enjoy them, as I say, and I do look forward to them every year. And of course I'm taking part in this year, of course I am. I am so looking forward to this year's shawl. It is called MusiKAL, play on words there, so knit along as Cal, so MusiKAL, really clever, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. I haven't looked too much into everything that Stephen's put out. All I did was look at what the suggestion ideas for the colour palettes were, and then I went and bought what I would like to use. This isn't a specific kit for the Mystery Knit Along, but it's got the right kind of ideas, so that's why I went for this. And I decided to go back, as I said earlier, to go back to where I started, which was the Stephen West, of course it's Stephen West, to Shawlography using the Eden Cottage Yarns Milburn 4-ply base. So that is what is in here. It is Happy Yarn Day, love from Eden Cottage Yarns. Now, as I say, you will have already seen this, so this isn't a big surprise, but my colourways that I have chosen for this year's shawl are very, very neutral compared to my previous shawls. If I hold them all up together, actually, because I haven't done that, have I yet? So here is Shawlography, here is Twists and Turns, here, I'm doing a few now, aren't I? This is wow, just a sign of how the years are going. So there we go. There are my current shawls: Shawlography, Twists and Turns, Geogradient, and lovely, I forgot what it's called. What is it called? It's called Go Dynamo, that's what it's called. It was last year, I should remember it. But there they all are. This year, the colour palette is this. So, if I bring these up once more, you can see that's going to be quite a difference from where we've come. Or where we've been even. So, let me get these out and I'll show you them and then I'll explain kind of why I've gone for these. Well, The reason I've gone for them is because I just fell in love with the colour palette when I saw a picture of them online. Put them that way around actually. There we go. So these are the colourways that I have gone for. They are extremely neutral. I, as you can see, have never done a neutral Stephen West Mystery Knit Along before, so this is going to be a new thing for me, which I'm quite excited about. I'm all about trying new things. And I have seen some very, very beautiful Stephen West Mystery Knit Alongs done in neutral colours before, and they've looked equally beautiful compared to as beautiful as the jazzy ones. That's where I'm going with that. So I thought this colour palette just screamed to me, and I thought, why not? Let's give this a go. So the colours that I have, I will show you the name. So Eden Cottage Yarns, and it is their Milburn 4-ply, which is a mix of 85% blue-faced Leicester and 15% silk. They are beautiful. Such a lovely yarn. So you will have seen this colourway, my darkest colourway, is called Charcoal. Then the next one is this one, and this one is called Steel. There you are. The next one is this one, and it is called Compost. Okay. And then the final one is this one, and it is called Wicker. So even the names of the colourways just highlight the fact that these are quite neutral colours. So these are 50-gram balls, so there are 2 of these 50-gram of each colourway in this box. So if I pop those back in there, I've popped them in really awkwardly, but you will be able to see that there's 100 grams of each colourway. So yeah, I'm really excited to give this a go. I feel like this was perhaps the worst one. Being called MusiKAL, I feel like it needs to be poppy, jazzy, you know, really vibrant. But I'm going to give this a go, and I'm really excited. I am hoping for brioche. I do love brioche, especially now that I've done my sweater, hoping for brioche. Stephen West, what he always does is if he puts brioche in a shawl, he'll give an alternative. So if you're not fancying doing the brioche, although he does give really good tutorials, if you still don't fancy it, you can always do the alternative. And both tend to look really, really lovely, because I know that I think one of your lovely selves tagged me last year to show me your version of the shawl that was the alternative to the brioche, and it looked beautiful. So either way, whatever you fancy, Stephen's got you covered, which is great. But yeah, so MusiKAL, I am very, very excited for it. And as I say, I'm going to do my best to keep up this year. It is definitely something that I do try for. I have managed to do it. Did I manage with? I think I fell behind with Twists and Turns. I can't remember exactly. Geogradient, I managed to stay pretty much up to date, and I think I even finished it within the year. Or was I sewing in ends in 2020, start of this year? No, I think I finished it in 2024, but possibly not. There's always an end sewing in situation, you see. I will try this year to sew in ends as I go. You heard it here first. But the other thing I will preface as well is that during Vlogtober, I am still driving Rob to and from work. So my time is extremely limited. That being said, I do try and keep up, but time-wise, I think I might struggle this year. But as Stephen says, it's not a race. It's not a race. At your own pace. It's absolutely fine. Don't stress. And I'm not going to stress. I will do what I can. And if I can't get the shawl, if I can't keep up to date, basically, it's not a problem. It doesn't matter. It's okay. It's fine. What I do tend to do is I try and avoid spoilers. So until I have completed the clue myself, I do tend to avoid spoilers. And I think that's why I don't like to watch the video before I actually start knitting the pattern. Yeah, it's just one of those things. But one thing I do love more than anything is when I finish that clue is going back onto Instagram and checking out everybody's colourways, everybody's versions. I think it's so exciting, and I think that's another lovely thing about it. Even if you're not taking part, it is so fun to watch everybody's shawls develop, because every shawl is different. It's fantastic. So many people take part, and yet there's so many variations of the same shawl. It's amazing. So that's why I get so excited. I can't foresee at this point in time a point where I wouldn't take part, just because I do enjoy that mystery. The one thing I would say is the time commitment thing. My mind might change a little this year due to the fact that I am limited on time. So I might start changing the way I do it, as in like allowing spoilers in, because it's going to take me longer to do the clues. I don't know yet. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what the shawl's going to be. So I don't know how long the sections are going to be. Some years they can be quite epic. So the clue one for twists and turns was this top section. That was a lot. But then you had sections like this that weren't quite as hard, or taxing, I should say. Time consuming, but not as taxing. So yeah, it just depends what he's got in store for us. So I'm really excited. Let me know in the comments below, once again, if you're taking part. What colourways have you gone for? Have you gone for a bright and jazzy shawl, or have you gone for a neutral shawl? Is it your first time? Which shawl did you start with? And are you going to do the mohair dare this year? If you are doing this year's shawl, let me know. I think some of you out there did mention that you'd like to do the shawl, but you'd prefer to wait until the shawl has been finished so you know exactly what it looks like. Totally get that. As I say, big time commitment, and it can be a fun commitment as well. So totally get that. You'd rather know what you're knitting. As I say, I just love a mystery. I'm one of those people that just likes mysteries. It's exciting. Yeah, the reveal as you go is what I enjoy the most about this. And yeah, I learn so much, and Stephen's mind is wonderful. It's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you are too. Tomorrow's video is going to be the first day of Vlogtober. I hope you're looking forward to it. Once again, I will just say I'll do my best to record and upload a video every day, but I can't guarantee it. I will let you know if I am struggling. But yes, all that being said, let's get stuck in to the Mystery Knit Along tomorrow. Super duper excited. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.